I call back to order the New King County Board of Supervisors, May 29th, 2024, work session to order. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members, please?
Mr. Evelyn?
Here.
Mr. Moyer?
Here.
Ms. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Steers?
Here.
And Ms. Stewart?
Here.
Good afternoon. Thanks to everybody for coming back. We had a motion that passed on item 3, FY 2025 tax levies on real and personal property. So I'm going to open that discussion back up. That's what we reconvened on. So.
Is this where you would like me to explain to you my proposal?
Yes.
Okay. Firstly, thank you for the opportunity to take another look at the budget. I truly appreciate that and got the experience that I know a lot of my residents do every month when they're doing their personal budgets. So firstly, I want to start with how I approach this, and it's with the thought process that we are increasing our economic development. We know AutoZone will be open soon in the next year. We know that there'll be ancillary monies coming in from that economic development. And obviously, with the hiring of our new economic development director, we intend for that to increase. So my first revision would be, and we already talked about this, so I kind of know your feelings on it to an extent, and there are a couple of options with this, but within our capital fund, we have $719,000. I think we can reduce that by $511,000, infuse that into our operating budget, use the remaining approximately $200,000 to replace the 2 vehicles that need, or X number of vehicles that need to be replaced this year. That reduces 1 penny. The other option is to infuse the entire $719,000 of the vehicle replacement into the operating budget, and I understand and acknowledge that that has to be repaid, and we will have those costs in the future. However, as I previously stated, we anticipate revenue to increase based on our economic development. The other, do you want me to go item by item?
Yeah, how much AutoZone, how much revenue are you anticipating with the AutoZone?
I don't have a good number on that yet. Right, but we know we're not going to build something and have a business functioning here and it bringing us no money.
I would expect that we should go over the incentives that were given to them. Those are paid back to us, but those incentives are given to them prior, right, and then due to performance, then they pay it back. Right. We may not be talking 2 or 3 years.
But we could be talking about the folks that are going to be driving to the county, buying food in the county, moving to the county. All of those different tax bases are going to be coming here as a result of increasing our employment within this area.
And we're just going to guess how much that is. We're just going to guess how much that's going to be.
So unfortunately, 2 or 3 hours doesn't give me the time to give you a model, but I believe that there is one. So
But we did talk. I've always been trying to be very professional with you, Ms. Stewart. We did talk at the visitor, and I met with every Board of Supervisors member, and we talked about the budget. And you said you did not support the 7 cents increase by no means, and we talked about it. The only one I did not get to meet with, but I talked to, was Mr. Steers, and you were okay with that 2 cents when we met at the visitor center. And for you to come in here today and not have a plan to how to cut those 2 cents, you're not a leader. You're a politician. And I think my job is to be a leader of this county. I think you were elected to be a leader. So I've been more open and respectful to you, but for you to come in here and do what you did today, you did not do your constituents any favors. You did not do the staff any favors. So, you're going to cut $500 to $2 million out of capital. All right, our budget's per se $10 million. We're already $1.2 million that we have to recoup from Colonial Downs funds. So you're going to cut another $1.8 million of capital funds. So that's going to put our budget at $12 million for next year. So we have to come up with $2 million. We're already starting $4 million in the hole next year. So I hope you can understand that. We're starting $4 million in the hole, and AutoZone's not going to cover $4 million.
So I believe that I said $719,000 from the capital, not 1.8 just now. I understand that we're infusing our operating budget currently with 1.3 or whatever the figure Mr. Hathaway said earlier I appreciate your opinion, and you're certainly entitled to your opinion, and I will not call you names. I can be a leader and lead with my convictions and in the interests of my district. And I can go through other areas where I believe we can cut money, because I don't think it's government's job.
Well, why haven't you done it until today when we
So,
vote on the budget?
when
Because you just said you thought it was 3 votes. That's not a leader.
When we met at the visitor center, I said I was not good with 7 cents. I also said I was uncomfortable with the tax increase in general, but understand what's in the budget. I understand it. I didn't say I agree with it. I do understand it. I understand that the services that we provide to residents cost money, and that's why I support our mandated services. And that there are many areas where we can cut that are not mandated. And I was taking the example that you have led with in chairing this and ushering me and mentoring me as a new supervisor.
Well, I didn't do a good
For how we
job.
work the budget.
I did not do a good job. And I can admit when I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
So I don't.
And I tried to do a good job. I'm ready to cut this thing capital project. I'm ready to do what you want to do, Ms. Stewart, since you studied budget. So I'm ready to cut everything to get it down to where you want. I'm going to support your decision today.
I'll say, would you like me to go through each line item? Because I don't know that that's in the group's interest, or what. You tell me what you would like me to do.
Well, the capital thing is not being fiscally responsible,
Yeah, you have to
period.
Yeah. You can't cut it from capital.
Can't use the capital.
no.
I think we can cut it from capital. We don't want to. And I, again, understand and respect each individual member's opinions on this process and where we should go in the process. I'm not going to argue with you about your own feelings.
Mr. Chairman, I was, looking at this coming into being a supervisor, and I saw this, gold mine of Bucky's coming, and also what we have now with Colonial Downs. And then I got the awakening of my political career when we saw what was passed by government and governor and by the legislation, that they wanted to look at how the distribution of these monies from Colonial Downs is made. And at that moment in time, I said, I will not commit to any transfer of capital money to anything else except for capital. Because we may not have a dime next year. That starts July 1. I believe it's sometime in July, they will set up who is on it. They need to have the recommendations in by October, and they will go 25, 26 will be when it's done. I'm committing stuff to 25, 26 already that I may not have the money. I can't commit even more to someplace I may not have the money. I do believe we're in a much better situation with Colonial Downs than we were years ago. We have it is a good business model. The benefits that we have gotten from it are beyond a good business model. Colonial Downs is not going away. We will have meals taxes. We will have sales taxes. We will always have stuff like that from it. But the extra monies I don't want to spend today. And that's how I'll vote for it.
I got a handout here with a statement made. You said that other localities have not raised their tax rate. I think you said James City, Henrico, and Hanover. I'd just like to go over this. So in 2023, our tax rate was 67 cents per hundred. We equalized the rate at 57 cents per hundred. And we were proposing, what was proposed was a 59-cent tax increase. That is a 2 cents tax increase. I think we can all agree with that. That is a 3.5% increase to the taxpayers throughout the county. And that assessment cycle is 2 years. So let's go to James City. Their 2023 tax rate is 83 cents. Their equalized rate, which they did not advertise, New Kent County is extremely transparent working with the Commissioner of Revenue. We always advertise our equalized rate. Their equalized rate is 68 cents. You know what their proposed tax rate is? It's 83 cents. 15 cents tax increase is what they're going to have. 22%. They did not advertise their tax rate, but they're going to pay the 15 cents, and James City's making everybody happy by giving them back 5 cents like they're doing them a favor. But it's still a 10-cent tax increase. Henrico, their 2023 tax rate was 85 cents. Their equalized rate is 75 cents. That's a 12%, over 12% increase. Their 2024 tax rate is 85 cents. Again, 10 cents, a 13% increase. Hanover, they are the closest ones to us. Their tax rate was 81 cents, and the equalized rate is 77 cents. Almost a 9.9%, a 4-cent tax increase, which would be a 5% increase. We're the lowest ones of all the surrounding county, all the big boys that have all this money. And I think we've done a really good job. And if you want to come in here and not support the tax levy, you need to have a plan to get us there. I mean, you must not done your homework there, because you just said they kept their same tax rate. They didn't.
I said they kept their same tax rate, and they did. I did not comment on the other part, and I appreciate staff. Can you let me finish first?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate staff doing the homework on this and preparing it in this way. It's helpful, and I appreciate it. But what I said was they did not increase their tax rate. I understand your sentiment. I get it. I do not think we should increase our tax rate by 2 cents.
By law, they did increase
their tax rate.
Okay. By law, they did.
Okay, then we should advertise our tax rate at 67 cents. Then you're saying that we didn't increase our tax rate. That's what you're saying. That's exactly what you're saying. We should leave our tax rate at 67 cents like everybody else did.
The transparency of our county administrator and our Commissioner of Revenue is impeccable, and because of what they did to make sure everybody knew in the county what was going on, we're having this discussion. It's a negative discussion. It's hard for me to believe. Look at 57 cents versus 67 cents. If they would have kept it at 67 cents, I got $500-600 more I'm going to be paying, and you'd have been able to say we didn't increase taxes.
Is that what you're saying?
That is not what I'm saying. I understand. Okay, I understand.
You did say that. They did not increase their taxes, you said. They kept theirs at the pre-equalized rate.
Right.
If you kept mine at pre-equalized rate, I pay $500 more a year.
Again, I acknowledge what you're saying, and you can make faces at me. You can.
I'm not making faces. I'm not making faces. I've been trying to be professional with you since you've been on the board. But I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from.
Trying to be professional with you as well. I think that we are at an impasse. I see what you're saying, and I disagree. And I've presented, and I can continue to present areas where we can cut, if you would like me to.
But you're not going to say that. But you just said that these other localities did not do a tax increase. So I mean, we can't get past that. So you're saying that those 3 localities did not have a tax increase on their citizens?
Their tax rate is the same as what it was in 2023, is what I'm saying. I understand that there are...
Guess what? Ours is 8
Mr.
cents
lower. Mr. Stewart's got the floor.
I don't believe I need the floor at this point. I believe you all can say what you want. We can talk about this. We can go over this plan. I can submit it to you. I can give it to whoever you want. I'm fine with doing that. I think we should call whatever question you would like to call and be done with this, because I think we're only digging a deeper hole and saying things that are maybe
We're not digging the deeper hole, Ms. Stewart. You are.
Okay, well, I appreciate your opinion on that, and
But I mean, you need to give us a reason to fill it in. That's why I want to
right. I would like to fill it.
But you can't fill it in from capital. I mean, and
I have $300,000 of other cuts that we could make if you would like.
Yes, I would.
Sure. So the first area, and I'm looking at the budget binder, and I separated by pages. The first two things that I have on here are not in a page. Our new finance director, I believe we're saving funds on. Our new economic development director, shouldn't be. I don't know this for a fact, so you'll have to correct me if this is wrong. But we probably are not paying them the same as we were paying a person with a dual position with the assistant county administrator. So if we want to start on page 36, clerk of the board. Reduce salary and wages by $68,830. Reduce special events to $40,000. Reduce promotional items by $500. Page 46, the registrar. Reducing our ballot expenses until we can have a more accurate count of what we need. Reducing part-time regular wages to the department request. I can continue by page if you would like. Okay.
Said the registrar, how much you cutting there?
Sure. That the registrar would be $1,500 for ballot expenses and $5,436 for reduced part-time regular wages.
Some of that's already been cut.
So, and I
Is that not
compared
right?
that to the diagram that I have somewhere that showed what Mr. Hathaway said we had already worked on cutting as well. So I compared the two, so they should be nearly accurate. Page 47, it's a $2,162 cut for reduce the wages to department's request. Page 48, reducing fixtures and furniture's expenses to $2,000. That's a $500 savings. And again, I'm telling, this is not easy stuff. We don't
Okay,
want.
can I?
Sure.
What's your total cut? What's your number?
$317,838.
And that won't save a penny.
Right. Plus, we do not need vehicle replacement. So that's why I said in tandem with the infusion, the one-time infusion.
So you're going to contradict what the policy we just passed with the using one-time funds with capital improvements, which we've never done. I mean, we put internet, which in your district and my district was obviously needed really bad with CIP funds. And you're going to add this money back into the budget that we're going to have to, come back with on the $700,000. So we're looking at about $3 to $4 million that we're going to have to come up with next year. We're already starting a hole. So I look at running the county as like running a business. So there's some hard choices that are going to have to be made. So if we're going to start next year's budget where we need to know at $3 million, then, we're going to have to go back to our constituents and let them know what services we're going to be cutting, because we're not going to make that up. And I think I laid out there that we have been very transparent and done a really good job. There's a thing called inflation, and the county sees it too. And I feel like a 3.5% increase in the total budget is warranted. But I understand you have your opinion. I have mine. So I want to. Yeah, and Mr. Steers. I mean, I think I'm going to support Ms. Stewart's position. Not on the capital, because that's. Mm-hmm.
Yep, Mr. Chairman, like I brought up earlier this morning, my question was if we were going to do away with building facility over at Ronnie Park over there, which I think was proposed at 1.8 million. If we could take that 1 million of capital funds and infuse it into the budget, and that would have taken care of the tax increase, $1 million, and then it would have given up to $8 million to help out our share, our 800,000 to help our fire chief with his budget needs and stuff like that. And I started 2 weeks ago I asked our county attorney at an event, is it possible to take CIP funds out of that budget and put it over into the operating budget? And he said, as long as it has not been adopted yet. So I was under the assumption we could do that. I talked with Mr. Evan last night. He said, I don't think we can do that. So we had our guy here today from Ted Cole, and I asked him, he said, it could be done, but it's pretty much what Mr. Evan is saying. You got to start over. You got to replace it next year. So it was a question. That's all I had was a question. And I got my answer, and I'm through. So that's it.
Well,
But
I
I
know,
appreciate it.
sorry,
Thank you, Ms. Steers.
Mr. Chair, I know from 2001 to 2009, we've never taken capital funds from the budget and used it in operating funds. Mr. Hathaway, from 2010 till now, have we ever done that?
No, Mayor.
I feel really bad that we have put this out in public today. It's the first time since I've been on the board that this has happened. Again, there's a difference between being a leader and a politician. You should have had a plan. You should have called me. I've been open and honest with you. If you wanted to cut it, we could have sit down and talked. We could have worked with staff. But you didn't. You came up here because you want to look good. Well, I don't know what. Maybe you're running for delegate or something. I don't know. So you could say you didn't pass, so you didn't do a tax increase. And you said it was going to pass by 3 votes anyway. So you really wanted it, and you knew it was better, but you couldn't stand up and put on and do what was right for all the citizens of New King County.
Mr. Chair, I'll make sure that the people know what I know. So when you tell me what I know, that's a surprise to me. But what I said was I don't support a 2-cent tax increase, and that is where I stand, and that is from consulting my constituents. And again, I do not think we are going to get, I believe we just disagree on this. And I have presented options that are not supported. And I think that is what it is. And I'll work harder in next budget cycle to gain the support of my ideas or what my constituents request of me. So that's what I can do better in the process. But I'm not going to tell you what you know. And I don't expect you to tell me what I know. And I expect us to work well and respectfully together as we have this entire time.
You weren't respectful today.
Mr. Chair, can I say something? I have a District 2 constituency that basically goes to work during the day, comes home, takes care of their kids, watches TV, goes work the next day. And I don't know if there's any of you here that live in District 2. But the one thing I'm looking at here is the leaders of our county that worked very diligently on trying to get us the lowest number they could. You're going through their whole wish lists of the departments, and you turned that in. We went back, talked to you people about it. We went back, talked to Rodney about it, and we respected that process. And we expect that process to continue next year, because that's going to be 2-3 months away. It starts again. And if you look at us as going, well, there's a couple of people someplace don't like what we're doing, you're not going to look at us like Thomas said, like Mr. Evans said about looking at us as leaders. I do take a barometer of what my constituents said, but at the end of the day, I got to do what's right. And I got to do what's right for you people out there too. Because you guys are in this together. And this action that we're taking today, or inaction, or whatever it is, please don't have it be a reflection on you guys. Because here's the best we got. Thank you.
All right. So we cut to 300 and some thousand. That doesn't give us a penny. Take capital, take $700,000 out of capital, which is not good financial practices. That does give us a penny. So are you, Ms. Stewart, how do you feel about a 58-cent tax increase then? Are you going to support that?
Do you mean a 1 cent tax increase to 58 cents? I would rather have no tax increase.
And again, pros and how to get there?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Hold on, I've talking. Do you have another? I would just like to know. You do have another million?
So 1 cent is $511,000, correct? So the $719,000 from vehicle replacement plus my proposed $313,000 would get us to that 1 point something million.
Taking the capital money.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Chairman, that $719,000 includes sheriff's vehicles too, didn't it?
Yes.
I can't support that.
Well, I would like to. I like the sheriff or the chief. What would affect? Whether that $700,000 affect on your vehicles if we cut it?
We're set for 8 vehicles in our budgets, and currently with the 6 positions that we created, or 7 positions that we created in January with the funds that the board gave to us, that did not come with any vehicles. So basically, all of those employees that we're going to make do with current vehicles that we have. We will be running vehicles to higher mileages than we are accustomed to running. Typically, when we start getting to the higher ends with mileage, we start also dealing with more and more maintenance costs.
So it's obviously an offset there, but currently we have not because we're all obviously expecting and anticipating these 8 new vehicles to come to help support that. We have vehicles that will definitely be going to other departments after we go through this budget process and the board and the vehicles come in. The other problem we run into, I think, is very similar to fire, that the vehicles just aren't there. We have some access to it, but a lot of these vehicles you're ordering there a year out before you will actually take delivery of the vehicle. So some of these, they're pre-done anticipating that they may be there, that dealerships anticipate we need an influx of vehicles during this budget time, that after the first of the year, counties will start calling, trying to get vehicles available to them. But it would be devastating to us not to have vehicles for our deputies.
Have you had any board member come and ask you what that impact would be if those cars were cut?
I have not.
Okay. Thank you.
And Mr. Hathaway, of that $719,000, is that solely made up of sheriff's vehicles?
I believe the total for the sheriff's vehicles is $585. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Let's get this done and do what's right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to adopt ordinance 0-04-24 as presented to impose tax levies on real and personal property for the 2024-2025 tax year.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Any comments, discussion? Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Nay.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Item passed. All right, we already approved the CIP program. Next item is adoption and appropriation of FY 2024-25 governmental and school budgets, Resolution R-15-24. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. You have before you a proposed FY25 budget totaling $112,844,288. Be happy to answer any questions. Item 6.
There are no comments. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
I would just say that item 6 is supported by item 3, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move to adopt resolution R-15-24 to adopt and appropriate the New Kent County, Virginia fiscal year 2024 to 2025 government and school budgets.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Any discussion? Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members, please?
Ms. Stewart?
No.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Item 8, adoption of reimbursement resolution R-17-24. No. Next is the adoption and appropriation of FY 2024-2025 public utility fund budget, resolution R-16-24.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. You have a public utility fund budget totaling $17,302,726. We'll bring to your attention, we do break out the Bottoms Bridge utility operating cost and revenues costs, and that's simply because of the bond financing. We're required to keep track of that.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. Any comments? No, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution R-16-24 to adopt and appropriate the New Kent County, Virginia fiscal year 2024-2025 public utility fund budget.
Thank you, Mr. Steers. Any discussion? Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Mr. Chairman, we need a motion.
Mr. Steers?
Mr.
Oh, I'm
Steers
sorry.
just made a motion.
That's on me.
Oh.
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Next is item 8, adoption of reimbursement resolution R-17-24.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. You have before you a resolution that would allow the county to reimburse itself for any preliminary costs for any future borrowings. For example, we're considering, we know that we will be considering in the near future additional improvements to New Kent Elementary School. If there are any architectural or engineering work that we take on now, by adopting this resolution, we will be able to reimburse ourselves with the proceeds from any bond. That's just one example. in the resolution, you'll see that we list all of our capital projects planned and anticipated for the upcoming years, which gives us flexibility. It doesn't mean that we will spend money on those items, but it does give us the ability if there was a need.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley. Any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt Resolution R-17-24, declaring the board's intention to reimburse itself from the proceeds of one or more tax-exempt financings for certain expenditures made and/or to be made in connection with capital improvement projects for the county and the county school system.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any discussion? Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. That's our last item today. In closing, I just want to apologize to our citizens, to our staff, on what this board did today. Change is good, and I support change. I support new members. But what we showed today was not leadership, and I'm embarrassed because I take pride in feeling like we run the best county in this Commonwealth, and we did not show that today, so I apologize on behalf of the board. Well, on behalf of myself, because I can't speak for the rest of the board. But I'm hoping this process next year will be a lot better. We have a lot of learning to do. And thank you for all the staff time, citizen input time to get to this budget today. I mean, obviously it wasn't easy, but we're here. So again, appreciate everyone being here tonight. Thank you to my fellow board members. And unless any other members have anything to say, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Meeting adjourned 3:37.
I do that sometimes.
That was pretty good, Josh. I appreciate it. If it hadn't happened, I would have cried.